Traders, how are you? Marcello here, founder of the Day Trading Academy. We are in Amsterdam doing a military training. Today we're answering your questions. We're talking about options. Question from Steve. If you guys have any other questions, don't forget to leave it with the hashtag AskMarcello. I'll be happy to go ahead and pull all those questions for me. It's been amazing to be able to share this life that I've been living, this experience that I have. Almost next year will be almost 18 years in the financial markets. The question today from Steve is,
what is it that you don't like about options?
So I think that in my position, I'm in a position, Steve, where, I should say, well, what I do is best, or our strategy is the best, or our market is the best, right? And generally in the industry, I think that there are a lot of people that actually do that. And I try to be a little bit more, let's say, not preferential, right? I do believe certain things with the experience that I have. That may or not be the way that we do things, but I try to always give you guys value in these videos. Don't forget to subscribe, obviously. The thing with options that I have is that, and I'm sorry if you guys can hear the wind because it's getting really windy. The thing that I have with options is there was a university study that was done in Harvard. There was a lady who has a PhD, some fancy doctorate degree, and what she was able to prove was that after a 50-year study, 50, they proved that when a person tries to multitask, that their effectiveness drops by 40%. So this is something that's really important to think about, because when, in my humble opinion, the reason why most people are not able to learn how to trade or learn it quickly like most of us want to, right? Because we all have this vision that you're just going to buy a course and on Saturday you're going to start making $1 million, which is not true, okay? The thing that we have to understand is that we have to try to simplify the process in order to learn, right, Steve? So it's super important to be able to understand that if you complicate anything, whether it's trading or anything else in life, if you're going to learn, it's going to be, if it's more complicated, it's going to take you longer to learn, period. So the thing with options is that options is very different from other markets in that there isn't just one thing that you need to do. So when you're going to buy a stock, you buy the stock and then you sell it. That's it. When you're going to trade, obviously, for those of you guys that are new, we buy, let's say, Apple at 200 or whatever it is, and then you have a stop, which is the limit of where you don't want the market to go. So if you think that Apple is going to get to, let's say, 300, that's a $100 rise, you might risk maybe $10 or $20. So if you're going to get in at $200, you have your stop, let's say at, I don't know, 150 maybe, 180, where the price of the stock can go down or negative a little bit before it continues to go back up. And if our goal or our objective is at 300, that would be our target. So that's simple. You just put in the order. Simple risk versus reward, where your reward to risk ratio should be anywhere between minimum 2 to 1, no matter what strategy you're using, right? And if you have a winning rate, a success rate of over 50%, then you can never lose as long as you don't make any mistakes. That's the problem that a lot of traders have, right? They can't follow their system because of their emotions, and they're afraid to get in, and then they don't do what they're supposed to. So with options, it's a little bit more complicated, right? I was going to say acciones, I'm thinking in Spanish. So stocks is like this, Forex is like this, even though I don't recommend Forex for beginners. You have any other market that you trade, whether it's futures, Forex, stocks, is like this. It's just simple. You put in the order, you wait, and then if the market comes down, then great, right? You won or lost, depending on what direction you were trying to go in. So with options, it's completely different. Now, I'm not going to say that you can't make money in options, because you can make money in options. There's a ton of people that are doing it. It's fine. But in my opinion, for beginners, when you're going to learn how to trade, this is part of the problem. For example, with stocks or Forex, you're doing 2 or 3 or 4 different things. With Forex, you need 5 different charts and 8 different markets, and then you add all the billions of indicators that everybody thinks they need. And then that's why, in my opinion, people fail. It's too convoluted. If the effectiveness in this study that they did, that in 50 years they found out For 50 years, they did this study that just when two things drop the effectiveness 400%. The effectiveness drops 40%. Can you imagine how far down, what percentage goes down the effectiveness when you're trading with 8 different charts or a million different indicators or a bunch of different markets? That's how Forex is. That's why part of the reason why I don't recommend it for beginners. Stocks, same thing. You need to do these screens and do homework, and then you have to watch 8 different stocks at the same time. This is the idea where we need 20 different charts. With options, it's not just one thing, right? You can't just get in and then get out. You don't just put in your order, you buy or you sell, or you sell, you buy. It's a lot more complicated than that. So while I do agree wholeheartedly that you can make money in options, there are people that are doing it, great, obviously. Full disclosure, right? You can lose money in options too. Trading is about winning and losing. Unfortunately, most people in the beginning lose because they don't do what they're supposed to. With options, you have to, you don't buy something outright. You literally buy the option to buy it. So let's say, for example, we're going to buy a house. We go and we sign a contract to have the option to buy the house in a year from now. That's what you do in options. So a lot of times, and a lot of traders recently have come, I've talked to them personally, and they were saying to me, well, I used to do options and unfortunately it doesn't work as well anymore because the style that I was trading, it doesn't only works in the sideways markets. And full disclosure, there's other strategies and options that you can use in other different kinds of markets, but you put in the option to buy, then you put in the option to sell, and then instead of just getting out of your position, the time on these options expire, so you have a cost that's associated with that. So instead of just buying the house and then selling it for a profit, right? Buying Apple stock and then selling it, you literally sign a contract, which is online. You don't physically sign a contract to buy the option. So you don't actually buy the house. You're buying the option to buy the house, and then the house doesn't go where you want it to, so you have to sell another option, and then all of these things start moving, Steve, and unfortunately what happens is it becomes way too complicated. So that, in my opinion, is the reason why you shouldn't start with options. Now, once you specialize in something, once you start to learn how to trade in a certain market and you literally already learn, you get the consistency and you're good, well, then you can do whatever you want. Then if you want to do options, go for it. If you want to do Forex, go for it. I don't personally know a lot of traders that have gone back to options, to be honest with you. I'm trying to think, a lot of the guys that I know have left options to come to futures because classically in the world, options and futures are a little bit more risky than things like treasury bonds and stocks and things like that, especially for funds, But I'm still trying to think of somebody that I know that went to options. I can't think of one person in all of these years. But anyway, so that's the problem that I see with options. So you can definitely make money with options, just like any other market in the stock markets. You can make money with stocks, you can make money with futures, you can make money with Forex, even though I have said in the past that you can't. I really throw a lot of dirt on Forex because in my personal opinion, it's not the best market at all for beginners. So that's really my kind of issue with options. They work. Obviously, you can find things that work all the time, anywhere. But if you really want to learn the most effective way, if you really want to make sure that you learn the fastest way, you need to simplify the process. So in Forex, you need eight charts, and then on top of that, 5 different charts on 8 markets, and then indicators and options. You need to buy an option, sell an option, and then a lot of people do that in more than one market. So you're talking about 2, 3, 4 orders per market. Multiply that by 5. It gets way too complicated, Steve. So in my personal opinion, if you want to be successful trading, you need to simplify the process completely because they've already proved in a university study. You can look it up, Steve. It's in the Harvard Review. The human mind doesn't have the capacity to be able to process so much information. One of the ways that I describe it is, all of you guys probably have driven before. In the very beginning, it's very difficult to kind of it's a very mental, a process that definitely requires a lot of mental strain, especially in the beginning, right? When you drive, you need the brake, the pedal, the steering, then this, then you need to look, and then stop, and then right? now a lot of you guys that are watching this video that have had probably a solid 5, 10, 20 years driving, you guys don't think about driving. You see the difference? So if you're gonna learn how to drive, you gotta simplify it. If you're gonna learn how to trade, you gotta simplify it. So in my opinion, options aren't the best market to start into because of that reason. So Steve, I think that's all I can think about options. I'm still trying to think of somebody that switched over to options, which I can't think of. If I do, I'll maybe put it in the comments. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Hashtag Ask Marcello, anything you guys want to know. We're here in Amsterdam doing a military training. It's amazing that we have 10 people from 10 different countries around the world, even 2 people from Africa. To me, you know, I always get asked, you know, why do you sell trading courses if you're so successful trading? For me, it's the absolute best thing when I receive an email, you know, I've been able to change my life because of trading, et cetera, et cetera. To me, it's the best job in the world. Not as easy as everybody says it is. You can obviously lose a fortune, which most people do because they don't do what they're supposed to. But if you guys have any questions, hashtag Ask Marcello. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.